All right, let's turn the page into Saturday's action. Let's look first at ranked in the noon slate. Number 5, Clemson going to Winston-Salem, going to the it's not the big ATM. I don't think we can call Truist Field the big ATM, but it's a well-stocked, well-funded ATM that they've got right there in Winston-Salem. The Demon Deacons, a 7-point underdog, 55.5 is the total. Anybody going to make a play here? Chip? Tigers.
Are you making a play, Chip? Okay.
Heck yeah. 100%. Clemson's won 13 straight in this series, every single one since 2009, and every game since 2012 has been double digits. Like, there's a very simple, you cannot overcome certain aspects in a football matchup. And Clemson's defensive line, which has been as important, if not more important, to Clemson's success in the playoff era than the quarterback and the wide receivers, which clearly Clemson is not up to the championship standard right now with their quarterback or their wide receivers. Defensive line is still ferocious, and that's where things go poorly for Wake Forest. They came out in this matchup last year, and this is the Wake Forest team that went 7-1 in ACC play, beat everybody else but Clemson, won the Atlantic Division. But in this game, you could just tell right off the bat, first couple series, I think it was David Hale had this note. It was out of the first 15 plays, there were 5 tackles for loss, and 10 or 11 of them went for either no or negative yards. I mean, you can hold that mesh point. You can try to freeze the linebackers, but you don't have any time when that Clemson defensive line is sticking their paws in the mesh point and starting to, blow up everything that you want to accomplish. I don't think that this Wake Forest team, which basically had to abandon the run against Liberty last week, is going to be able to hold Clemson back. Plus, you guys know, anybody got a Krispy Kreme near them?
Oh, yeah.
You guys know about the hot light? About Krispy Kreme?
Lights on, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Unique motivation. It is a recent tradition, but one that started with 2-time national champion Christian Wilkins, at least was brought to my attention. His desire, his love of Krispy Kreme has created a you win, you get donuts team motivation. There are locker room dancing videos after winning in Winston-Salem where everyone's got the Krispy Kreme hats on that you can get if you take your kids to an actual Krispy Kreme, and everybody's just got donuts on their fingers. Krispy Kreme originated in Winston-Salem. They want those donuts. Clemson gets this thing done early, cruises to a win. They win by double digits again, just like they have every year since 2012.
You're muted. There you
Hey,
go.
is that lock agreement button hot and ready? Because lock agreement. Yeah. Liberty stuffed 40% of Wake Forest runs for 0 or negative yards. Liberty. Yeah. Okay. So
Liberty.
yeah. Clemson is getting a lot of guys back on defense this week that they held out against Louisiana Tech. That's one of the reasons that I played that La Tech team total. So, yeah, they, I think, will abuse Wake Forest offensive line and win by double digits. So Wake is not going to win the game.
I got to play.
Okay.
Give me the under.
Yep.
For all the reasons you guys say, Wake Forest defense has been bad. Let's see if Clemson can go out there. They've sputtered out of every single game, and they've been able to pull away. And, I've had some Clemson fans, hit me up. Well, they're still averaging 41 a game. It has not been pretty. The thing is still not where they need it to be or anywhere close to there. And I'm with you on them shutting down Wake Forest offense as well, or at least holding them in check. So I think this will be under the 55.5.
Boy, under rides again.
Yeah.
Yes. It's of their first half touchdowns, of which they don't have many, one of them is a defensive score. I mean, it has not been fast starting at all for the Clemson Tigers. Tennessee has lost 16 of the last 17 to Florida. And I know Tennessee fans have loved to hear that all week. 16 of the last 17, 16 of the last 17. And bad Florida teams have found ways to win this game. Knoxville sees blood in the water. The Vols are 10.5-point favorites, over under a 62. Anybody making a play in the SEC on CBS game of the week?
Yes.
Yes. All right, go. Let's hear it.
I want the under in the first half. All right, which sits at 32. I think Tennessee is going to try to go absolutely crazy fast because, as we've covered on this podcast a couple times, the defense for Florida does not have much depth. However, I really don't think Florida is going to score a lot in this game because their passing game is terrible, and I think Anthony Richardson happens to be hurt. If you watch the second play of the Kentucky game, when that linebacker dives into him, he does not look like he has the same juice running that he had against Utah, and I think that's when the injury happened because he got up and he was limping around pretty bad. I think Florida is going to play Service Academy slow for as long as it can in this game until it is no longer feasible, which is why I prefer the first half under as opposed to the full game under, because at some point they're probably going to have to start chucking it around if Tennessee is moving it. However, I think variance could be on our side as well here. I like Florida's corners. Tillman might be out for Tennessee, the receiver who got hurt last week against Akron, and Florida will probably challenge Tennessee to hit those one-on-one deep shots. If UF wins a couple of those, I actually think they can keep this thing somewhat close in the first half, and close in the first half means low scoring because they certainly will not be, it won't be 21-20 at the end of the first half unless Richardson is just much healthier than I think he is. So under 32, I'm not going to take that 32.5 number. That's kind of a rogue, I think. If I can't bet there, I'm not going to take it. Under 32 for me.
I am in half agreement with you in that I am taking the full game under at 62.5 for many of the same reasons you do. I think that Florida offensively knows that its best chance to stay in this game is going to be controlling the clock and limiting possessions, because even though the Gators are decent enough defensively, like you said, they don't have a ton of depth, so they do not want to be out there for 80 to 90 plays. They want to keep Tennessee's offense out there as limited as possible. I also think, like my biggest question about the Vols coming into the year was the defense, because it was horrible last year. It's still not what I would consider a good defense, but I think it is improving. It has played better so far. So I'm going to give the Vols defense a little more credit here in being able to stop a Florida offense that really, outside that Utah game, and even in that Utah game, outside of some crazy Anthony Richardson stuff, was not overly impressive to me. I don't think Florida's going to be able to do a ton offensively. I think Florida's going to try to limit what Tennessee can do offensively. And I think that total is just a little bit too high. So under 62.5.
I like the way both of you guys are thinking. There's a part of me that's nervous if Florida makes a change at quarterback, and it could happen in the second half. So that's why I'm a little bit nervous about that. But Chip mentioned this earlier in the season. Tennessee, one of the best teams coming out of the gate, right? They're playing at home. It's going to be a crazy crowd. Josh Heupel, I don't know if he scripts the first 15 plays or what they do. They practice them over and over, but they are outscoring their opponents 228-61 in the first quarter. Give me Tennessee minus 3.5 first quarter line.
Yeah, no, we've given him an Oscar. We've given him an Emmy. We've given him a Screenwriters Guild Award. He is the best script writer in college football right now. I 100% think that has to contribute to the way that Tennessee has outscored its opponents in the first quarter over the last couple of years. I've got no lock here. I think this game is going to be stupid. I think this game is not going to make any sense. And it smells like too many daggum points, but not because Florida's good. Does that make sense?
Yes. I'm live blogging it, so I hope it lives up to your expectations.
Or you hope Tennessee runs away with it.
Well, yeah, but I hope it's stupid and I'm done writing by, with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I just got to plug in some stats and I can be like, done.
Enjoy that sweet new deck at the new pad, man.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll start to do it like an MTV Cribs Cover 3 episode where you can just sort of take us around the house and you can show us everything, jump on the bed and say, and this is where the magic happens. Like they do.
I was originally planning to do the show out there today, but the dog has to be out there because there's so many people in the house and she'll be barking at them like crazy. So I couldn't do it out there, but I'm going to do a show from out there at some point.
All right. And then we go into the primetime slate. Number 10, Arkansas at number 20. We are in Jerry World, our AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas. Arkansas, number 10 in the country. Texas A&M, number 23 in the country. Texas A&M, a 2-point favorite, over under of 48.5. And anybody want to come on? Because woo pig suey. We will take the Razorbacks. We will take those points. But I'll tell you, I think Arkansas wins this game. Does anybody remember the way that last year's game in this very site between these very two teams happened?
Oh, yeah.
Arkansas got up 17-3 at halftime and sat on their chest like a bully.
Yeah.
Said, we don't think you can score. We don't trust your offense. And in this year's matchup, there is a flaw in Arkansas's defense that we have discussed a lot, that because of injury issues, you can pick apart the secondary. You can find some success through the air. And I think that's what we saw from Missouri State and Bobby Petrino just last week, or at least, one aspect of why that game was so much closer than many expected. Texas A&M doesn't have that. Like, Texas A&M is missing the one piece that it needs to really be able to take advantage of Arkansas. Now let's compare the offenses, because clearly with KJ Jefferson, Raheem Sanders, like, there are a lot of explosive options on this Arkansas Razorbacks offense. Texas A&M does not have those same kind of explosive options. I like Arkansas to be able to win this game. So I'll take the +2, because, an under, I don't hate either. I do think that we could see something that would be at least flirt with this, 48-49 kind of score. And so I'll take the 2 points just in case it comes down to a field goal or something tight. But I really like Arkansas to be able to play out something similar where they dare, they load up against the run. They dare Max Johnson to try to beat him over the top. And Max Johnson and this Texas A&M passing attack just doesn't have it. So I like Arkansas to win. Give me the 2 or a 2.5 if it's out there.
I can get you 2.5.
Let's go.
You guys ever played Mike Tyson Punch-Out as a kid?
Yes.
I'm aware of it culturally, but I personally did not play it. I wasn't allowed to have the video games in the house till we got to the 64.
Yeah, we were not allowed to have video games with blood, so we had to hide Mortal Kombat up underneath the drawer, right? Like down forward, back, high kick. We couldn't keep cheat codes around the house either. You had to memorize the fatality codes if you wanted to. That's Liu Kang's dragon, I'm pretty sure. Shout out, Mom, if you're watching. Pretty much turned me into a total degenerate. So in Tyson's Punch-Out, you'd have to fight King Hippo, right? And like he was pretty much impenetrable until he revealed his weakness, and then you could pop him. I think that is Arkansas's weakness, and I'm not really sure A&M exploits it. But one thing I am sure of is they're about the size of King Hippo. Cody Kennedy's Arkansas's offensive line coach. He's doing a great job there. They push everybody around. This is one of the more underrated offensive lines in the country. That quarterback they have is really big and hard to sack. And I think they're going to go over their team total of 23. I think they score closer to 30, maybe even into the 30s on A&M's defense. I don't like App State's passing attack, and I hate Miami's passing attack. So I don't think A&M's seen a passing attack worth a damn yet. And it might be ugly, maybe a low completion percentage, high yards per catch type thing, but I think they'll hit an explosive or two. I think they can run the ball on A&M's defense. I don't hate Chip's pick, but I just like the over 23 team total a little bit better.